Shuyin.
Len.
There's something I must tell you. Words left unspoken for 1,000 years. I love you. And I'm grateful that you stayed with me until the end.
But I couldn't save you.
It doesn't matter. Please, don't go on grieving alone. Rest.
We can finally fade together. No.
Wait!
You are not Len!
Okay, so he spent the entire game trying to convince him that we weren't Len. And
You
now
just don't
he doesn't
get it,
believe.
do you?
It's no good. He's not listening.
Shuyin, please stop this!
And now he's finally realized.
Strong, Yuna.
Okay, so this is the final boss battle. And he's going to have the same moves and the same animations as Tidus, which I think is a pretty nice touch. Whoa. And some of these attacks are strong, let me tell you. Six, 7, that's already over 2,000 damage. And Waka's Blitzball, the world champion. Okay, so not too bad. Around 2,000 damage.
Put that crybaby to sleep.
But we don't have a wall yet. But he's pretty agile and he likes to interrupt your moves as well, so that can be a bit annoying. So slice and dice as well, so we get to see all of the old moves. But please explain to me how Shuyin, who apparently only existed as a shadow, and you know his feelings and the fireflies and everything we've discussed already,
can stop him.
why is he now a physical being? He's no longer possessing Barreleye. This is Shuyin. So are we still fighting a shadow, or has he become real now? And if he has become real, how the fuck did that happen? Is it just a case of the Firefly saying, "Hey, okay, we're gonna make you real now because you're so pissed off about what's going on," or what? So I don't get how Shuyin's a physical being at this point.
Don't interfere!
Energy rain. So then I guess it begs the question, since Tidus was a dream of the faith, was he created in Shuyin's image? So is Tidus just a, you know, basically, is Shuyin Tidus' ancestor?
Years of agony.
That'd be interesting. I never read up too much on the Shuyin Tidus connection outside of the game, so yeah. So I don't know if the fact that he's using Tidus' move, is it just something, you know, for us Final Fantasy X fans, or is there really a connection between the two? I don't know. Maybe he's possessed Tidus' body and we're just not aware. Tidus has come back, we don't even realise it.
It's almost over, Yuna.
It is over. So are we going to get some answers? Is Shuyin truly dead now?
Yuni?
Shuyin,
Maybe we've kind of dazed him enough for him to really think that it's Len. Because until we get rid of those feelings, Shuyin's not going away, right?
Shuyin.
Don't try to tell me you understand. Len? Len.
Hi there.
1,000 years, and this moment is all we get?
This moment's enough. I don't need anything else. Just knowing how you feel is enough. Shuyin, let's end this. Let's go home.
Can we?
That was all 1,000 years ago. We've come too far to look back now. Rest, Shuyin. Rest with me. Let's go. I have a new song for you. Thank you.
So there we have it, kids. Chapter 5 complete, and the story is done. So Shuyin and Len got to fade away together nicely. But if Len had just decided to come out before the boss battle even started, we probably never would have had one. So she was nice enough to stick around inside Yuna until after the boss battle. So gotta thank her for that. But what of Tidus? love that there's like an aurora type effect in the far plane. Must be a magnetic field.
Once my friends and I dreamed of flying. We would sail a ship with me as its captain. In time, I became that captain. I found a new ship with new friends. My ship was the Youth League.
Others chose a different captain. Their boat was New Yevon.
You know, I realize I'm like a lot of you people. We want a captain, and we want a ship to ride, but more important than that, really, we all want to ride together.
There are some things you can't do alone. But they become easy with friends beside you.
This was the lesson that we learned when we launched those ships.
It was power. And we misused that power. We turned our friends and followers against each other.
Forgive us.
Somehow we forgot. There's a much larger ship out there. One we've been riding ever since we were born. That ship is Spira.
No one knows just where our voyage will lead us. But we do know one thing. One way or another, we will get by. We'll go on living. The calm will continue.
Just one more thing. We all owe thanks to a very special lady. Yeah, you all know who I'm talking about. We really hope that she could be here today.
It's time for me to go home.
She left a message. She said she's going home. So farewell, but not goodbye. See you next time.
Did we really have to leave like that? Just think of the party we're missing!
I think we party enough, don't you?
Brother! Higher! Brother! Faster! I can't hear you!
So much has happened, and I'm sure it's only the beginning. Through the smiles and tears, through the anger and the laughter that follows, I know that I'll keep changing. This is my story. It'll be a good one. It all began when I saw this sphere of you.
So there we go. That was the ending. But it's not the only ending that you can get in this game. So that what we just saw there was pretty much the standard ending with nothing about Tidus at all. So what I will add to this, if I haven't got it, because I'm pretty sure I should have got another ending other than this, but let's just, if I haven't got that ending, then what I will do is I will add it in to the end of the video, and we will talk about the other endings too, and you'll get to see exactly what they are. But let's talk about this particular ending and what we've seen. It was pretty much as happy an ending as you could have thought, because pretty much no one died and everything worked out pretty much perfectly. Spira looks to be fine now. The leaders of the Youth League and New Yevon have kind of, well, basically they were always friends to begin with, but they've remembered their roots, and they look like they're going to be able to lead Spira in a much more kind of organised manner in the future. So Spira looks fine. The calm will continue. Yuna seems pretty happy, and everything's fine. So again, if you class it with the ending of Final Fantasy X, which was so bittersweet and left you with such an interesting feeling, this one is almost overtly positive. And again, this is the ending that's effectively the bad ending. So if you guys don't know about the endings, this is pretty much like the bad ending of the game. So there are even better ones than this, and we will talk about them afterwards. But let's talk about the game in general. How did it go? What did I think of it? Obviously, I've spent 30 hours talking about it already, but in general, I've got to say that I have to appreciate the angle that the developers took with this game, because I think straight away they knew that they can't compete with Final Fantasy X. They can't make this game the same as Final Fantasy X and make it better, or even, you know, the same, because I think that was such a special experience that it's really difficult to repeat. So what did they do? They pretty much thought, how different can we make this? And they sat down and they thought of a non-linear story where you could, you know, you were free to explore, because that was one of the main criticisms of Final Fantasy X. It was on rails, you couldn't explore anything. So they gave you plenty of exploration. Final Fantasy X, you know, it had a lot of strong male characters in this game. All of the leads are female, so they went for that, which was refreshing, and it was great to play as Yuna, Riku, and Pain. I enjoyed it, and they gave it a much different tone. It was much more upbeat. It was a lot more kind of, you know, slapstick stuff, overtly funny stuff, and much less serious. And when it all comes down to it, I think it was a very smart decision. If they tried to recreate the feelings of Final Fantasy X, I think people would just have been, they would have played it, they would have said, yeah, it was good, but it just didn't do it in the same way that Final Fantasy X did. So they decided, instead of trying to better it, let's go for a different angle and try and do things differently. So I have to commend them for that, and I think it was the best way to tackle it. Even from a gameplay perspective, the battle system was very different. All your garment grids and dress spheres, and obviously everything is in real time and all this kind of stuff, active battle system, so it was completely kind of different from Final Fantasy X as well. Even the enemies, I mean, you guys saw quite often that I had things from Final Fantasy X in my head that just didn't apply anymore in this game. So it, you know, it made things different for me as a Final Fantasy X veteran to come into this and to play a game that I'm not so experienced in at all. But yeah, definitely enjoyed the playthrough. And obviously, since I said at the beginning, the main reason I even did this playthrough and I uploaded it was because of the great feedback I got from Final Fantasy X. And even though I stated it countless times, obviously this playthrough was never really going to live up to Final Fantasy X in terms of the quality of the walkthrough I was able to provide, and I gave you guys no kind of disillusions about that. And just like Final Fantasy X-2 as a game, I think the commentary thing was the same. I didn't try to do what I did in Final Fantasy X because it wouldn't have worked, and it wouldn't have been the same because I just don't have the same passion for this game as I do for Final Fantasy X. But all things being said, I enjoyed the playthrough. It was good, and it was nice to wrap things up. And well, it's still not over yet, because you just saw a minute ago in the credits there was last mission stuff. But in terms of the Final Fantasy X-2 story, we are done. thank you all to everyone who's watched it. It definitely got nowhere near the audience that Final Fantasy X did, and that's, you know, it's understandable. It's a slow period on YouTube anyway, but this game never really had the same following that Final Fantasy X did anyway, so I don't really blame obviously anyone for not really following through with it, even though hundreds and hundreds of people made requests for me to continue. I didn't really see most of those people you know, watching it, but it was still fun, and it's one that I'm glad that I did at the end of it. At least it's complete now. And from here on I will add more stuff. I will add some post-game stuff. So we still got the V Infinito to do and Angra Mainyu as well. And once that is done, then all that's left is Last Mission, which I have never ever touched before. So that is going to be a completely fresh, completely blind experience. And once we're done with all of that too, then that will be Final Fantasy X completely done. But now that I said that, I remembered there's the audio drama as well, which I'll have to upload. Damn. There's so much stuff for Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X 2 is just a beast of a collection when you think about it. Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, the whole Final Fantasy X 2 Remastered package contains a shitload of gameplay when you think about it. Final Fantasy X, I mean, the quickest I could manage to get the platinum was about, what was it, 80 hours, 90 hours? Obviously this game I played for 30 hours and I still have a lot of stuff that I didn't even touch. And then there's the whole Last Mission stuff, and then there's the audio drama. So when you think about it, there's a lot of stuff here. So, I don't know. Now, let me see if there's another ending after the credits. I'm curious about this. If there is, then that's good. That only leaves one other ending. I'm not too sure. No. Because I seem to remember in Chapter 3 that I told you guys about the whistling stuff. And if you managed to get all of the whistles, that you would get the good ending. But, okay, I guess I must have still missed something. My completion percentage probably still wasn't high enough to get the good ending. Fuck it. Okay, thanks for everyone who watched and interacted. I had some really good discussions in the comments with people, and there was a lot of good advice given in the comments as well. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, because since I'm going to be back, I don't want to kind of extend it too much. I'll be back with more from this soon, and Last Mission too. So this is it for now, and I'll talk more about the other endings in the next video, I think. Okay, so 79%. I was 1% off 80%. Fuck. So if 80% was the threshold for getting the good ending, that's really annoying. Okay. 79% is still, to be honest, is more than I thought I would get. I still did a fair bit. Okay, New Game Plus. Play through the game again using all the dress spheres and items you've collected and all the abilities you've learned. Find and complete missions you may have missed and write a whole new story. Well, write a whole new story is the key word here. And the key is, if you complete the game enough, you get different endings. So like I've said, what you saw first of all was the bad ending, or well, the worst ending, because it still finished pretty upbeat and triumphant. But there's one better ending, and then there's the perfect ending. So that's what we're going to talk about next.